escalated tracks on the Yape Bridge in the central Gonja district. Let's get an update from our Savannah regional correspondent, Christopher Amwako. Christopher, thank you so much for your time. Do we know what led to the tracks crashing?
Yes, Portia, as we speak, the fire service officials from Tamale and Buffet have arrived at the scene to douse the fire. But one thing is that the accident has actually blocked the main Tamale Kumasi highway, rendering commuters helpless as it stands now. The two trucks, after the collision, caught fire, and from our sources on the ground, two persons were rushed to the Tamale Teaching Hospital, while two are feared dead in that particular accident.
Has it been established the number of people who have died?
Yes, for now, our sources on the ground are saying that two persons are lying lifeless, and they fear that they may have died as a result of the accident. As the fire officials are at the venue trying to, as it were, ensure that they put off or douse the fire, they are also making sure that commuters who are at that stretch of the road are safe.
So far from the videos, we are seeing fire on the truck. Can you establish what items were on the truck?
Yes, so one has a shear nut loaded from Tamale heading towards the southern parts of the country. We cannot tell which part of the country it is heading to, but it has some bags of shear nuts on it. The other one had offloaded cement in Yape and was en route to Bupi to take its next consignment when the incident happened, right when you are climbing the Yape Bridge. Portia, if you know that stretch very well, there are some speed ramps on the Yape Bridge. So when this truck gets there, each one tries to maneuver its way to dodge the speed ramp. And that actually, according to our sources, caused the accident, which led to the two trucks all catching fire.
Christopher, just before you go, what's the current traffic situation?
Yes, the current issue is that fire officials are there and helping douse the fire. They are also ensuring that, even when the accident happened, some military officials were from the southern part of the country heading towards Tamale. They helped to, as it were, ensure that the people who were rushing to the scene did not get close to the fire. And as we speak, they are supporting the fire officials to ensure that the road is cleared to open traffic for the movement of vehicles.
Christopher, thank you so much for your time. And Christopher Amwako is our Northern Regional Correspondent.
All right, so we are shifting our attention to one story that would concern everyone watching us. Hopefully, at least you have light at home to watch this bulletin, because the Ghana Grid Company Limited, GridCo, and the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, have both announced that power supply has been restored to all affected customers following the resumption of gas supply from Takrady for use by generating plants in Tema. A joint statement from GridCo and ECG said the improved gas supply has enabled power restoration to all loads across the country. The statement added that customers currently experiencing any outage should report to the ECG call center or the customer service center for the fault to be rectified, since this is likely to be a local fault. And from their position, there's not supposed to be any challenge with power supply so far as GridCo and ECG are concerned. If you have any current challenge, it might be a localized fault. But let's interrogate this subject, in detail and speak to Benjamin Boache, who is the Executive Director of the Africa Center for Energy Policy. Mr. Boache, very good evening to you. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, and thanks for having me.
Right. I mean, many expected or thought that this was a financial challenge all through, but the initial communication we got from GridCo was that there simply was going to be a shortfall of 550 megawatts due to lack of gas supply. Are you surprised that it ended up being a financial issue that government is now trying to resolve?
No, I cannot be surprised. We are privy to the information and data and what is happening in the sector. And we know that, these challenges purely financial. You know, ECG and GNPC, who is the off-taker of the reverse flow infrastructure, owes WAPCO around $20 million, and they've not been able to pay. So that was the reason why they curtailed gas supply from Atuabo to the Western Enclave, and that resulted in the supply shortage in terms of power. So yeah, that's it. It was purely financial.
Could this have
technical.
Right, and Mr. Boakye, could this have been avoided? Is it something, looking at the entire value chain of how these purchase agreements work, could this have been avoided?
Yeah, absolutely. If we had paid them, they wouldn't have shut down the valve. It's just about turning on the valve. And, you know, so they had to turn it off because we are not paying. If we had paid, they wouldn't have turned off the valve. But we are hoping that this will be the last of it. This is the second time they've done that in 2 months. And we have only promised to pay part of it by Monday, and also the remainder towards the middle of November. So there is some obligation on our part, on government's part, you know, to fulfill. If they're able to fulfill the obligation and pay WAPCO, then we can be sure that that curtailment will not happen. But we also have to appreciate that beyond WAPCO are lingering issues in the sector, including the IPP debt, you know, which is also accumulating in spite of the outstanding close to $2 billion. We are still piling up more debt, and reneging on our responsibility to actually clean up the power sector to make it more efficient and cost recoverable. If we're not able to do that, these kinds of announcements, curtailment, and explanation, half-truths will continue in the power sector. I mean, look at the letter that was issued by GRICO. They evaded the reality of telling us that, you know, we're having to shed load because gas, we have not paid, and gas supply has been cut by WAPCO. You know, so it's something that we have to avert by addressing the fundamental issues of ensuring the liquidity of the sector is intact, and therefore the suppliers and the value chain operators wouldn't have, you know, recourse to these kinds of actions to keep people in darkness.
Right. And Mr. Boakye, is the power sector that difficult to manage, considering the fact that, like you mentioned, we are already, as a nation, indebted to the independent power producers? Now there's this WAPCO debacle we are trying to resolve. And clearly, the challenge of even revenue mobilization and collection. What exactly is with the power sector that many a government have struggled to fix?
I think the managers of the power sector should be answering that question. Why is it that they have failed to deliver power? It's a matter of buying power, selling the power, and recovering the revenue. If it is difficult for somebody to do that, then he's not fit for the job. And I think that is really what we should be asking the managers of the power system. Why selling power and recovering revenue has been difficult to do, especially when we know why we are not able to recover the revenue. In many instances, people consume power. They either will not get their bill or their meter breaks down. You call, nobody attends to you. People resort to illegal connection. And then they get, you know, people who are supposed to work, you know, to protect our interests, connecting them and taking the money into their pocket. These are basic problems that are engineered by people we pay to actually deliver service and value to us. And they fail on the job, and everybody is happy. They come explaining, and end of story. You know, so we have to hold people accountable for these kinds of mess that we are in. And the worst part, the budget keeps coming up to you know, absorb these challenges. Because when you know, they're not able to collect, people steal power, and the losses are created, it's the state that has to pay.
Right.
And consistently, the money that should go into development, building the schools, the roads, and other social economic infrastructure we need, is what is sacrificed for this kind of mess that people supervise.
Ben Boakye, thank you so much for your time and the thoughts you express on this subject. Ben Boakye, Executive Director, Africa Center for Energy Policy. ASAP.
Let's now turn our attention to the Ga State as the final funeral rite and interment of the Gamanye Nade Domadro III has been held amid colorful display of Ga culture. The firing of musketry was significant in the rites performed.
Colorful procession. Firing of musketry. And the rich display of Ga culture was at its best. Hundreds of people, including kingmakers, politicians, expatriates, and traditional authorities from parts of the country converged on the premises of the Gamanye Palace to mark the final funeral rites of the late Gamanye Nade Domadro III, whose reign lasted 59 years. Also in attendance was President Akufo-Addo, Vice Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, and their spouses. Delegations from Ilefe in Nigeria and Aneho in Togo were present to commiserate with the Ga State over their loss. The traditional rite, which preceded a church service, saw traditional warlords, known in the Ga language as Asafu-Acheme, from all traditional jurisdictions in the Greater Accra region, changed the solemn atmosphere through the chanting of war songs as they usher in the king, Nidego II, to the funeral grounds. The remains of Nade Domadro III was laid in state in an enclosed area for the public to file past. Tributes poured in from family, the Ghana Traditional Council, and key political figures. Executive Director of the Ghana Free Zones Board, Mike Okoye Jr., described the late Gamanye as a figure whose contribution to the development of the Ga State cannot be underestimated.
I'm sure you've heard quite a few stories about in terms of being a disciplinarian, especially when our footballers were misbehaving between Olympics and Hearts of Oak, and when she took the cup and told them when they finish fighting, she'll produce it. I think this is the first time that Accra is seeing the funeral of such a prominent Queen Mother, and so a lot of people are surprised with a bit of the disruption here and there. We also pray that as the Queen Mother has passed, the new person who will be nominated will even come stronger with a will to push the Ghana people forward.
Other people of the Gadangbe descent who eulogized the late queen expressed contentment with her stewardship during her reign.
And she was very supportive of me during my GMB year, during my GMB exploit, and so it's definitely a personal loss for me as well. We've had visitors from other countries, other states, coming into Ghana to mourn with the rest of the community, and that is one thing that we can miss about her. You know, she brought about unity. She was a very strong figure. Even when I was a very small baby, before I was 5 years old, I knew her name, Nade Domadro. And so I think that going forward, our next queen has to be somebody who is going to stand up for everybody, irrespective of who they are, what sex they belong to.
The remains of the late Nade Domadro III will be interred at a royal cemetery in Accra at the late hours of Saturday.
And clear commendation to the Ga State for giving a befitting farewell to the Queen Mother of the Ga State, Nade Domadro. In a related development, though, or earlier today, some shops in the central business district of Accra closed following the directive from the Ghana Traditional Council. Joseph Armstrong has filed this report.
This is Makola, one of the busiest places within the central business district. But today, Saturday, the whole place is calm as the traders pay homage to the late Gamanye Nade Domadro III. Aside Makola, all other marketplaces and some traffic zone areas we visited, which include Thermal Station, TUC, Rollins Park, Agbogloshi, Kaneshi, Malam Market, Aboso Kain, and Circle, among others, were empty with no business activities taking place. The Accra Mall was also closed down as at the time the news team visited the place. Some customers who traveled from far were stranded as they say they had no idea of the directive.
I came to buy some stuff, but I came and then the place was empty. I didn't understand what was going on, so I called a friend and then she was like, today they asked people not to sell and other stuff. So I was like, okay. So I'm going back without buying what I wanted.
I came from Ashama Katamanso. So I don't know that anything is going on. I came to buy cloth and go and sell. All the shops are closed. I don't know what is going on.
Transport operators are bearing the brunt of the directive as no business activities are taking place.
With the work plus the market women, see, no, as market women no come, so we know they get passengers. These passengers will they get small, then they travel, they go, they my hometown, then they get. We go fit come bet, be more passengers we will bring them for a year. The car they come empty.
Aboso Kain gets very busy on Saturdays, but all shops are closed to pay homage to the late Gamanye Na Dede Amanjuro III. Other mini markets and shops at homes within the capital are all locked. Joseph Armstrong, Good, Alagwe TV3, Accra.
And her nearly 6 decades of reign was marked with a sense of service and selfless dedication to the Ga State. The late Gamanye Na Dede Amanjuro III will be remembered for championing peace and unity.
Na Dede Amanjuro can we be a himba.
The late Gamanye Na Dede Amanjuro III was known in private life as Na Dede Abla. She was installed Gamanye in 1963 at the age of 29. During her 59-year reign, she selflessly devoted her life to public and voluntary service and championed peace, education, and opportunities for young people, especially the girl child.
She had a long reign in the Ga State supporting the Gamanche and women. She was a mother for all.
She stood for peace and unity, not only among the people of the Ga States, but also all Ghanaians, and advocated a united approach to the development of her people.
Na Dede Amanjuro, as we know, she is really a mother. Not only a mother, but very caring. He never disputes things. She is free with everybody. Anytime you wrong her or something, he quickly recollects you, then it goes on with you. Na Dede Amanjuro is somebody who like peace. Anytime, anywhere she will be, when there is misunderstanding or quarreling here and there, he will make sure he will bring peace.
Na Dede Amanjuro III was known for her charity work, and in 2004 she donated items worth $12 million to the Ghana Society of the Physically Disabled at the Ghana National Rehabilitation Center in Accra. Her achievements for the Ga State during her 59-year reign were outstanding, devoting her life to public and voluntary service.
She's a mother which, if you have a problem, you can go to her. And she served Ghana for only God knows.
Ekawa hishi ojogba ni no fe no mi ewu awonga ebu awona.
She lived at peace with all. She gave good advice. She was humble. In 2016, she left Ghana for the USA and stayed for 5 years. On April 14, 2021, she returned home and received a grand reception by a high-powered delegation. The Ga State has indeed lost a mother and a unifier.
Na Dede Amanjuro can we be a himba.
Right, so may her soul rest in peace and thank her for the effort she put to getting the Ga State where it is. Let's do education now. The University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, has served notice to the National Labour Commission of its intention to resort to strike as per Section 159 and 160 of the Labour Act 2003, Act 651. In a statement signed by the National President of UTAG, Professor Mamudu Akudugu, and Dr. Eliasu Mumuni, the National Secretary of UTAG attributed its decision to, amongst other things, to the slow pace of negotiations on conditions of service for UTAG members. And this strike comes in the wake of, what many are saying, that there seem to be quite a number of agitations on the labor front. Let's find out exactly from UTAG why this time and what is necessitating this decision. Professor Mamudu Akudugu, I beg your pardon, Akudugu is National President of the University Teachers Association of Ghana. Prof, good evening. Thank you for your time. Apologies for bastardizing your name. To start with, your statement is quite straight to the point that because of certain issues, including, government's lackadaisical attitude to the conditions of service, you are now finally going to put in action toward and go on strike. Give us a bit of background to why we have come where we are.
Good evening to you and to your viewers. We took this decision to inform the Labour Commission. Our intention to go on strike, pursuant to pursuant to Section 169 and 160 of the Labour Act. And it's because of the stagnated nature of the negotiations that have been ongoing, and then aside that, also other issues that were raised, including the seeming distortion and lack of commitment towards implementing some of the agreements that we signed with government. But before I proceed, let me put on record that we are aware of steps that have been taken so far. We picked intelligence or information that the Honorable Minister for Education has directed that our online teaching support allowance should be paid by the Vice Chancellors as agreed. We are aware that a letter has been written by the regulator, the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, to that effect. We are also aware that efforts have been made to resolve the standing misunderstanding on the book and research allowance, also on the vehicle maintenance allowance, and then on off-campus allowance. And that we are grateful. But the main thing for us is about the fact that we don't want to always be in the media for reasons of our conditions of service and the rest of it. We want to focus on contributing to national development.
Right.
We want to be able to play our role in teaching and building the human resource for the country, conducting research that would promote evidence-based decision-making and policy formulations that will bring about inclusive and sustainable development. And we want to be able to improve our industry, academia relationship or partnerships.
Okay.
And so we want to focus on this, and that is why we are calling on government to make us finish negotiations on the conditions of service so that we can quickly focus on these important matters. You
say that the education minister has given indications, or you've picked intelligence that some level of payments have been, an order has been given for you to be given some form of payment. Does that then change your earlier plan of undertaking this strike?
Yeah, if you look at our notice or intention to undertake this strike, we raised three main points. One was the online teaching support, another was the vehicle maintenance and off-campus allowance, and then also the payment of our book and research allowance. Some campuses are yet to be paid. And most importantly, the conditions of service. In fact, it may surprise you to know that our members have been working all these years without a unified conditions of service for all the public universities. And that is simply incomprehensible, that we have been in this business for all this while without a unified condition of service. It has been mostly about the university councils terminate some of the things that we were supposed to do on their own and all that. The first attempt to get this done was in 2011. It didn't quite happen. And so we need to get this done so that we can focus on the business of conducting research and teaching and then advocacy for sustainable and inclusive development in the country.
Okay. Okay. My final question, and if you be brief on that for me, would be now, so you've said that there's a possibility you might change your final decision. So how soon should we expect that final decision from you, or what are you expecting from government before you say the strike will not happen?
What we are expecting from government, in fact, we've written to the Fair Wages Commission asking for a negotiation meeting, in fact, a week-long negotiation meeting, so that we can sort this thing out. So we have requested and we are giving some timelines. Hopefully, once those timelines are met by the employer, we shouldn't be there, because we are, as I said, we are sending our experts to the field in the Akosombo area to assess the situation and all that. We want to be able to contribute more to some of those things rather than focusing on these things that can easily be that we should easily resolve and then move on in pursuance of sustainable and inclusive development in our country.
Okay, Prof, thank you so much for your time. Professor Mamodu Akudugu is the national president of UTAG.
Let's now turn attention to the Volta region, and while the floodwaters following the spillage of the Akonsombo dams have considerably receded in some communities, some affected people remain helpless and neglected. For many of these affected individuals, returning to their homes is a distant prospect. Peter Kwao Adato reports that some of the flood victims complain of being abandoned in the distribution of much-needed relief items.
At Esuchari in the Shai Osudoku district, reports that limited attention is being given to satellite displaced camps in terms of the distribution of relief items was validated. Individuals making their way to the satellite camps where donations are directed to send their contributions to Tokbo, which has become the primary focus for relief efforts. We proceeded to Volivo, where over 290 displaced persons from Atrobinya, Kewum, Avakpo, and Volivolano are temporarily housed. According to the assemblyman Nico Owen Kolete and the man Kralo of Volivo, displaced persons have received minimal attention. The same story unfolded at Togome, where more than 89 displaced individuals from Kewun Atrobinya are camped. The situation was no different at Alabonu. The over 300 displaced people at the school had to seek shelter with friends and family due to the invasion of snakes at night. Some of the victims shared the experiences.
So far, NADMO, they came and do visibility study, but they never bring any relief item to the Alabonu community, who are also heavily affected.
In our village here, also we also explained the display all right. Nothing, I can say nothing. NADMO has not submit or supply us anything in this village.
Top of the list of urgent need is clean water. Their water source had been restricted as health authorities have prohibited access to the Volta River.
Our source of water here at Alabonu in the community is the river Volta. As we speak today, the water is contaminated. We can't take it any longer. Our plea is that we need source water. We need water.
About 400 displaced individuals from Kesegakope and Klamandaboy now occupy half of the basic school at Fozoku and are exposed to mosquito bites. Among them is Kujo Homeku, who is recovering from an accident he suffered during the floods.
Banana farm near Bakpelemion. My debate not Pelemion or Wookie. I have a Michiame.
Speak to Saji Amedono. He is Deputy Director General at the National Disaster Management Organization. Thank you so much for your time. And we just played a video where some victims of floods are complaining of not getting the needed support in communities like Togome Volivo. Has that come to your attention?
Thank you very much, Portia, and good evening to you and your viewers as well. Yes, this has come to our attention about 3 days ago. And we have mobilized some items and sent to some of those communities. We have sent items to Pojoku, to Mokriko, to Volu, to Penekope, to Abutia, and Alabonu. But what is happening is that it is continuous relief that we are administering. We don't do just one-off because as you are well aware, all these people, their livelihoods has been affected considerably, and they may not be able to return to normal very soon. So the relief administration is continuous. We will continue sending items there too. It is not only those places. I think the Shire area. I had mentioned earlier that majority of the over 39,000 people affected live with families and friends in their community. We work closely with the assemblymen and the NADMO zonal directors to identify them, and as we do that, we support them as well.
Are there timelines that we are looking at here?
Yes, as I said earlier, we have sent some items and we'll continue to send items. I think even on Monday, we'll be doing a general distribution of items again. We have now put in place a relief administration committee that includes all the traditional authorities in the area, includes the MP, includes the district chief executive, and this committee will be working through the assemblymen to reach them so that it can streamline our relief administration.
Now, Sergio, we've seen flood waters receding, and there may be the temptation for some to rush back into their homes. You're talking about the structural integrity of the buildings. What is NADMO doing in this regard to ensure people's safety?
Thank you very much. We have put a notice out already that people should not rush back into their homes as the water recedes. A team is mobilizing to come in to work on decontamination and do fumigation, and also try to check the structural integrity of some of the structures before this affected person can move in. So we are urging all affected persons, especially those in our safe havens, to at least exercise some restraint as the water recedes. We are getting a team on the ground to try and work on all these things before they can safely move back into their homes.
Thank you so much for your time. And Saji Amedono is Deputy Director of NADMO.
In a related development, Media General has contributed over 20,000 bags of water, beverages, life jackets and other essential items to residents of Mepe, Adan and Sogakope areas which were affected by the Twin Dam spillage. Godwin Asedeba reports.
Families gather, their eyes reflecting a blend of gratitude for the aid and sorrow for the losses endured. Volunteers work tirelessly, distributing essential items to those who have lost not just their homes, but their sense of security. In the midst of this crisis in the Volta region, the generosity of the global community shines through as Media General delivers a beacon of hope in the form of relief items donated by the public. Life jackets, beverages and bags of water have been donated so far, a lifeline for the resilient residents of Mepe and other affected communities who now face the daunting task of rebuilding their lives from the ruins left by the relentless overflow of the dams.
What the public, friends and family out there have given to us to present to the people of Mepe, Bato, North Tong and South Tong, so that their burdens will be easy.
The Ghana Association of Barbers and Barbering Saloon Owners, alongside Media General's 3 Foundation, brought a touch of positivity to the flood victims by offering them free haircuts.
We are here to help them with their haircuts, because some of them, because of where they are right now,
to have a Baba is very difficult. So we, Association of Barbers Association, have come here to help them, give them a good haircut, so that they will also be happy with where they are right now.
Amidst the challenges they face, this initiative not only provides a refreshing look, but also uplifts spirits and promotes a sense of community care.
It's so sad. That's why they are helping we. So thanks give to them.
I feel so amazing. Like I don't see this before. This is my first time. I'm seeing it. So thanks.
The once lively streets of Mepe are now waterlogged. The relief items are a sign of tangible expressions of compassion from strangers near and far.
We are really touched, and we will never forget TV3. We will never forget all your viewers, and please keep us in your thoughts and prayers. We are very, very grateful. Now, our most pressing need is how to relocate them. They can't continue to live in these classrooms. Were not built for human habitation, for residential accommodation. There are no beds, no mattresses, no showers, no toilets. It's not for, residential use. And so they are living under inhumane conditions. No human being deserves to be going through this. So our chiefs have generously donated large tracts of land. And what we need now are companies, individuals who want to help us, to come and support us.
Media Generals 3 Foundation has additional initiatives in store for the victims. Keep your donations coming to support the ongoing effort to make a meaningful impact on those in need. Godwin Asidiba, TV3.
And we will remain thankful to you, the viewer and the listener of all our media platforms who've contributed tremendously as we all help lend a helping hand to our sisters and brothers affected by this twin spillage. More is still expected. We are still grateful that you are bringing them in. This is News 360 on TV3. Still to come, the story of Ruth Ajololo and how she found out that she had breast cancer. Details of that and more right after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint. As compared to other paint brands on the market, we take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Colgate Herbal is formulated from unique natural herbs to strengthen teeth and keep gums healthy. Try Colgate Herbal, scientifically proven for strong teeth and healthy gums. This advert is FDA approved.
Whenever you fly to space or take your first step as baby, Soft Care always stays with you.
New Soft Care Space Series is rooted from space technology. Keeps you dry and comfortable for 12 hours long. Offers you the most effective protection during your space journey.
Soft Care. Protect your leap.
Hello again. Let's continue with the rest of our stories. And it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. When Ruth Ajololo attended the funeral of a friend who died of breast cancer, she decided to undergo breast examination as a routine exercise. Little did she know That step would prove to be a life-saving initiative. After further tests, she was almost at stage 4 of breast cancer. Today, she shares her story of survival. Ruth Ajololo is a retired online editor with the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation and a practicing freelance journalist. She thought breast cancer was far from her until she attended the funeral of a dear friend.
So when I went, I tried to engage the elder brother in a conversation, trying to see what happened to her. And then he told me that she died of breast cancer. Apparently, she herself didn't know that she had cancer until it got into the last stage. So she didn't tell anybody. I was like, hey, this must be very serious. And I haven't checked or do anything screening my breast before. So I called the doctor friend and he said, oh, I should come to the hospital. So I went there on a Tuesday. And then he examined me physically and then found out that there was something in the breast. But because he wanted to be sure, he asked me to go and do a CT scan. So I went for the CT scan, and my sister, the images that were shown to me, I had a big one up on the right breast, and then 3 beneath the breast, and then 1 in the armpit. So he said, oh, the way the thing is looking, you advised me to go and see an oncologist at a cancer center. Apparently, I was entering the 4th stage of cancer, yes.
She tells me her world came crumbling down when doctors told her she had breast cancer.
It was a humbling experience. It wasn't easy for me at all because the word cancer put fear into us. So automatically I got frightened. Immediately I told him that, please doctor, just take off the 2.
But she braced up for the grueling cancer treatment.
I started the chemo. In fact, the first section I went, I didn't feel anything the first 2 days. The 3rd day was a terrible day for me. It broke me down completely. Apparently, the chemo kills both good and bad cells. So I was broken. My immune system was down. I woke up the following day with my hair off, as if somebody had pulled off my hair. I saw my hair on the pillow, and I was like, wow, what is going to happen? The 2nd chemotherapy, that one too was another story. My nails became black, my hands, even still you can see the veins, black. My feet, the sole became sore. I couldn't put my feet down. Oh, a whole lot of complications. And honestly, I wouldn't wish this for my worst enemy.
Ruth reiterated the need for government to help bear the cost of cancer treatment.
Money that I've not seen in my life before was what was quoted for me to pay. So I didn't know where to turn. And now the way things are in this country, it's difficult for somebody to assist.
Ruth Ajololo encouraged women undergoing treatment for breast cancer.
Those living with breast cancer, my advice for you is be positive, be bold, be courageous, be optimistic. Surround yourself with positive people. Breast cancer is not a death sentence.
Portia Gabo, TV3 News, Accra. And thank you so much, Ruth, for sharing your story with us. Breast cancer, when you detect it early, will not be a death sentence. We have sport news coming up shortly. Don't go away.
Make life beautiful. Embrace it with the all-new Ahofe from GTP. Life, style.
Are you tired of struggling with bad financial situations? At Quick Credit, we understand the difficulties that come with transitioning to a better one. That's why we're here to simplify the process for you. With loan facilities of 1,000 cedis and upwards, all you have to do is call and we will take care of the rest. All you need is your national ID. No savings, no collateral, no susu, no deposits, and no account opening required. Quick Credit has you covered. Whether you're expanding a business, starting a new one, facing an emergency like school fees or funeral expenses, or even just in need of a salary loan. Call Quick Credit today, 0302 200 390 or 059 692 0833. We do not give loans via the internet. Quick Credit is regulated and licensed by the Bank of Ghana. Terms and conditions apply. Quick Credit. Lending made simple.
Sports segment is brought to you by Bell Pack Tissues.
It's time for sports here on News 360. I am Aniela Alote. We start off with round 7 of the Ghana Premier League. Bibiani Gold Stars in Accra, Hartsfield kept the goals late in the game to pick up a point apiece in a 1-1 draw. Let's take a look at the highlights.
Ever sharp, ever present. Oh! Goal will hold. The goal will not hold. Or will it? He didn't move immediately to the center. Let's take a look at it again.
Yes, absolutely.
Long ball forward, Accra had to put. It goes deep into the box. Hearts are back in it. Are back in it, and who else to get the goal but the gentleman who has puffed and puffed for 90 minutes of the game.
Hamza Issa for Accra Hasselhoek. It's a set piece, it's a free kick. It's being delivered, a long one into the box. Osei comes out, he fails to handle it, and Hamza Issa goes for the rebound.
Proceeding to the English Premier League, Arsenal put up a 5-star performance against Sheffield United. Mauricio Pochettino's Chelsea continue with an alarming run of home results, this time suffering a 2-0 defeat to Brentford.
The call from Fodringham, he couldn't claim it, and Nketiah rifles it home. Smith Rowe. Nketiah! Fodringham has a pretty decent record at saving penalties. Sheffield United don't concede too many. Well, they conceded that one. El Neni with the near post run, just glances off his head. It's loose, it's in for number 5. Well, what an afternoon for Arteta and Arsenal. 5 of the very best. But Eddie Nketiah is the one who stands proud here.
A little bit flat here. Burma hooking it in here, and it's 1-0. Is the sucker punch supplied by Ethan Pinnock. Brentford lead at Chelsea yet again. Another corner swept in, away from the goalkeeper. And Brentford have a chance to almost walk it into the net. Neil Mope's got Burma to his left-hand side. It's the final ignominy. Chelsea completely undone, and Burma scores at Stamford Bridge yet again. What a miserable afternoon for Mauricio Pochettino.
Heading over now to Spain, Jude Bellingham's stunning double snatch Real Madrid a 2-1 comeback victory against Barcelona. Let's take a look at the highlights.
Rolls it to Gundogan. Into Ferran, he wanted that back. Gundogan, he's charging through here, and Alaba, and Gundogan's finished, and Barcelona take the lead. It's his first goal for the club. He came to Barcelona off the back of a prolific season for Manchester City. Scored 8 goals last campaign. He hasn't really come close so far, but what a game to pick to score your first goal, bursting through the middle to give Barcelona the early lead. It's Barcelona 1, Real Madrid 0. Vinicius with the cross, low one, headed away by Gavi, comes out to Bellingham. Bellingham goes for goal, and he hits the back of the net. And of all the goals he's scored this season, that surely is the best, and it's in the biggest fixture of the season. 9 goals in La Liga. He only scored 8 in the entirety of the season in the Bundesliga for Borussia Dortmund. Bellingham's been quiet, but Bellingham has woken. Bellingham strikes. It's Barcelona 1, Real Madrid 1. Carvajal into Modric. Rudy Bellingham scores again! Bellingham gets a double on his Clásico debut. Incredible. 10 goals in La Liga for Jude Bellingham, and goal number 10 looks like winning the Clásico. And I don't think we saw the typical celebration when he scored the first. We're seeing it now. Xavi can't believe it. His expression says it all. Real Madrid have flipped this game. Disappointment.
That will be all for sports here on News 360. I am Aniela Alute.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by Awake Purified Drinking Water, GTP Lifestyled, Vodafone, Further Together, and powered by 3 Entertainment.
Tonight in this segment, the Kantamanto Market Community and the OR Foundation are gearing up for the 2nd edition of the Obroniwe October Festival. The festival, which is the biggest gathering of all reuse, repair and upcycling fashion enthusiasts, aims at celebrating the Kantamanto Market as a global hub of second-hand economy and upcycling culture in Ghana.
For decades, the Kantamanto Market, which has been the go-to destination for many second-hand clothes and fashion accessory lovers, is mostly dominated by old folks. But the dominance of the older generation is slowly fading out, making way for the new school of upcyclers, who are taking used clothes and redesigning them into trendy apparel.
When I start this the creative vibe, the upcycling, I've been doing it from day one. Like they say, like, are you crazy? What is this? And in my inside, like I be telling myself that they will understand. If they didn't understand it today, they will understand tomorrow. So I think that is the understanding today. So I think all the old men and old ladies, they are in it right now. So Charlie, I'm very happy.
With upcycled and redesigned used clothing becoming increasingly popular in today's fashion industry, Lucky Bless, together with other youth in Kantamanto, have created an industry for themselves in Ghana.
I started this, let's say, by like 12 years this. I started this work, the upcycling. I don't even know that I'm going to meet any artist to style him. And I think by now, I style many artists because of Kantamanto. It helps. Every artist wants something creative. And when they see something creative and no one else have the same thing, like, I think that is their vibe. Yeah, that's why they like my vibes. And Kantamanto here, Kantamanto is some place that you get something that nobody gets.
Way back 5 years ago, I came here with my mom. She came to take styles and sell. Yeah, so I came with her. So when I completed SHS, I decided, say, nah, I'm a guy. I should come here by my own and get stuff and sell. And yeah, that's how we started. I like what's going on now. Yeah, like the thrift vibe is very good. Yeah. Kantamanto is a whole vibe. Like
to them, upcycling is the new wave in the fashion space that needs more attention and support.
If you are beginning something, it's very hard to understand. If you are starting something and people around you loving you, like what you are doing, like they don't understand, you just understand yourself and keep doing it. Kantamanto here, when like you are somewhere, you have no job and anything, like I think if you enter inside right now, you get some stuff to use it to create another thing to still give someone, but I think the boys, they didn't know. So I think Kantamantu is helping the youth. So if you are outside and you have no job, come to Kantamantu.
They should help the youth and they should invest in the upcycling. Yes, it's a huge invest, like you need investors, yes, so that they will support us, because we have too many boys, like plenty boys around here. They do the same things, but they don't have support.
With the introduction of the Oburoni Wewu October Festival, the group aims at positioning the Kantamanto market as a global hub for second-hand economy and upcycling culture in Ghana. The event is expected to climax on October 29, 2023 at Rollins Park in Accra with captivating performances showcasing the skills of members of the Kantamanto community, including upcycling demonstrations, pop-up shops, a talent show and a styling contest.
Israel's military chief says the war with Hamas has entered its next stage, with the best soldiers now on the ground in Gaza. The territory is being pummeled with intense airstrikes after Israeli tanks entered the north overnight on Friday. Civilians there remain cut off from the outside world because phone lines and the internet are down for most people. International reaction remains mixed. The White House said Israel had the right to take the fight to Hamas. Israel has been bombing Gaza since the 7th of October. Hamas attacks that killed 1,400 people and saw 229 people kidnapped as hostages. The Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza says more than 7,600 people have been killed since Israel's retaliatory bombing began. A teenage Iranian girl who fell into a coma after an alleged altercation with morality police earlier this month has died. Amita Jaravand, 16, collapsed after boarding a Tehran metro train on October 1. Activists accused morality police of assaulting her for not wearing a hijab.
And that's how we bring the bulletin to an end. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Martin Esiedu Date.
And I am Portia Gabo. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Have a lovely evening.
Welcome to GTP Fashion Corner.